I don't know if you've read the book. Virginia Giuffre is very complimentary about Donald Trump. All the other accusers, all the other survivors are also very positive about Donald Trump. So they're very confused about why he isn't doing more to get these papers released.
Andrew Mountbatten Windsor may have been stripped of his titles, but there seems little chance that there will be the end of scrutiny about his past behaviour. Members of the US Congress want him to testify in a congressional investigation into the Epstein files. Max Foster, I'll try and get my teeth in, is the CNN international anchor, is their royal correspondent. He knows an awful lot about the royal family and how it plays across the international stage. We can speak to him now. Good morning, Max.
Good morning.
How big a deal was this to an international audience, the fall of Andrew?
Well, there's a fascination. When the news broke on Thursday, I was on air and went into breaking news coverage. And then I stayed on for our US primetime shows, Anderson Cooper's show, Caitlin Collins' show, and that was the lead story there as well. So there's a huge fascination. It's fascination in royalty, of course, that's always there, what's really going on in the family, but also how it speaks to the Epstein scandal and the cover-up there.
Is there a sense that at least the UK, however ineptly and taking however long, is tackling the Epstein scandal in a way perhaps the American establishment isn't?
Well, exactly. I think in this country, obviously, there are calls for more to be done each time there's an announcement. Actually, in America, this latest announcement was seen as very significant because it was the king, the head of state, acknowledging that something happened here and that there will be a price to pay for the people that have been accused as part of it. So this is very much seen as an example of what could now happen in America. And Virginia Giuffre, Andrew's main accuser, no longer with us, but her siblings say that this is an example that can be used there. They're calling for a meeting with the king so they can go over it all, and perhaps the king can make some sort of call to Donald Trump to make sure the other men accused here are also brought to account.
That'd be a tricky call to make to Donald Trump, who's not entirely removed from the circle of Epstein himself.
You'll I don't know if you've read the book. Virginia Giuffre is very complimentary about Donald Trump. All the other accusers, all the other survivors are also very positive about Donald Trump. So they're very confused about why he isn't doing more to get these papers released.
And do the American authorities have the power to get Andrew over there to help them with their inquiries? I mean,
no. Well, without any... obviously, we know that the Met Police are looking into Andrew's conduct, so we'll see what happens there. Without any criminal evidence against him, no. But there is this call amongst Democrat Congress people for him to at least give some evidence. And this is also what Virginia Giuffre's brother is calling for, saying, even if you don't go into the direct accusations against you, you were very intertwined in this world. Clearly, there's evidence you can shed. What happened at the house in New York? What happened on the island? What happened on the flights? Who was there? So Democrats calling for Andrew, even if it's just on Zoom, to just give some evidence to help with the wider investigation.
You know better than most, Max, that the royal family never used to do anything. They never used to say anything when it comes to scandals, never complain, never explain. Is there a risk for them that once they open the door here, we're going to get rid of Andrew's titles, we're going to get rid of his house, now people are calling him to get rid of his Falklands medals, which seems outrageous actually to us. Simply, if he earned the medals in a war, then his subsequent conduct makes no bearing on whether he deserves those medals or not. Is there a danger that the royal family, by actually being a little bit more modern, a little bit more fleet of foot, get themselves into a point of view where the demand for further action is inexorable?
Well, there's a huge risk here, isn't there, for the monarchy? The monarchy is a brand in many ways, and it's being damaged massively by this association. I think actually one of the most interesting developments in the future will be this Met. It's not quite an investigation yet, but they're looking into the Andrew's conduct. Did he ask a police officer, a royal protection officer, to dig dirt on Virginia Giuffre? That then opens the question about what the palace knew when. And when you consider this is a much bigger story for Americans, this is about Epstein, which is about cover-up. And, you know, it speaks to conspiracy theories that are out there about who's controlling the world. So the big risk for the monarchy is if the world finds out that they knew more than they did at a particular time. So I think they've realized that they've got to face this and also show that they're not part of any sort of cover-up. So I think they didn't have any choice but to respond in the way that they did. And I have to say, the king's getting a lot of kudos in America for doing what he did.
I'd love to know more about that birthday party, the 18th birthday party, where they were all there and who knew what then and who invited them and who they spoke to there and who else was there. Has anyone ever fully investigated that? It's one of the royal princess's birthday parties where Epstein was present.
Well, there has been some, retrospective investigation, hasn't there, about geolocating who was there, where was it. Again, it speaks to this idea that there's a private party at a public building, Windsor Castle, and who was invited there and what goes on in this world. I mean, what aren't we being told? So again, it's just, I think transparency is the only option that the royal family has here, because there's no evidence, obviously, that they knew anything. I don't think Charles and Andrew have ever been particularly close. I don't know how much the family knew about any of his associations, but they just, it was their, it was a young member of the family's party. She had who she wanted there, presumably. That's what they're all thinking.
Just finally, this is quite damaging for the old Queen's reputation, because she's the one, it looks like, has been sort of sticking up for her favourite child.
Well, you're talking here about, the alleged money that was used for the case, I think, with Virginia Giuffre and the outer court settlement that was reached there. The reality is that Charles has had to pick up a lot of the damage that was done at that time and trying to deal with it. And then William obviously is deeply involved in these conversations as well. He's probably looking ahead to his monarchy and what he's left with. I mean, it's the drip of information that I know that you've reported on is going to continue, and at some point it's all going to come out. So what do you say now that resolves the situation for the monarchy? Because certainly in this country, as you've seen, there's a lot of support for the monarchy, and the criticism is that Andrew is damaging the monarchy. So I don't think there's any great risk to the monarchy right now, but they have to be very clear about what they knew when.
Great point, Max. Really interesting stuff. Thanks for joining us. That's Max Foster there, CNN international anchor, royal correspondent, been around the royal family for some considerable time.
Britain's Prince Andrew has been stripped of all his royal titles and forced out of his Windsor home. That was according to Buckingham Palace on Thursday. It's one of the most dramatic moves against a member of the royal family in modern history, and comes as the king seeks distance from Andrew over his links to late sex offender Jeffrey Epstein. Andrew is the 65-year-old younger brother of King Charles. He settled a lawsuit in 2022 brought by Virginia Giuffre, which accused him of sexually abusing her when she was a teenager. Giuffre died by suicide in April this year. In her posthumous memoir released this month, she said entitled Andrew believed it was his birthright to have sex with her. Meanwhile, earlier this month, British tabloids published correspondence between Andrew and Epstein from 2011. The messages revealed Andrew had told Epstein that they should, quote, keep in close touch, and that they would play some more soon. Andrew was forced to quit all royal duties in 2019 and then stripped of his military links and royal patronages in 2022. He has always denied all the allegations made against him. Earlier this month, he was forced to stop using his title of Duke of York, and now he'll only be known as Andrew Mountbatten Windsor. And the Royal Lodge mansion of the Windsor estate west of London will no longer be his home. The disgraced royal was served a formal notice to move out of there. He'll be moving instead to a private property on the Sandringham estate in eastern England.